These pearls of wisdom are brought to you by Carl Johnson and members of the Oyster Bay Church of Christ, located at 1044 Shadeville Road, which is 4 miles east of Crawfordville, Florida.
Casting lots and loaded dice. Throughout history, humans have sought ways to make decisions, settle disputes, and determine fate through methods of chance. Two distinct practices, casting lots and loaded dice, illustrate the contrast between fair, divinely guided decision-making and deceptive manipulation. While casting lots was often considered a sacred or impartial method of divine intervention, the concept of loaded dice introduces the element of human interference and dishonesty. Casting lots is an ancient practice found in various cultures and religious traditions. It involved using marked stones, sticks, or other small objects to determine the outcome of an event. The Bible frequently references this practice as a legitimate way to make important decisions. One of the earliest recorded instances of casting lots appears in the Old Testament in Leviticus chapter 16 and verse 8. There the Bible says the high priest cast lots to determine which goat would be sacrificed and which would be released as the scapegoat on the Day of Atonement. Similarly, in Joshua 18 and verse 10, lots were cast to divide the promised land among the Israelite tribes, ensuring an impartial distribution of land. Perhaps the most famous New Testament reference to casting lots is found in Acts 1 and verse 26, where the apostles used this method to choose Matthias as a replacement for Judas Iscariot. These examples illustrate the belief that casting lots was a way for God to guide His people and remove human bias from critical decisions. This philosophy behind casting lots rested on the conviction that divine sovereignty governed the outcome. Proverbs 16 and verse 33 states, "The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord." Reinforcing the idea that randomness was only an illusion, God controlled the result. But in stark contrast to the religious and impartial practice of casting lots, the practice of casting loaded dice introduces an element of deception and manipulation. Loaded dice are deliberately altered to favor certain outcomes and ensure that the result is not truly random. This practice is commonly associated with gambling, fraud, and unfair advantage in gaming and betting. The ethical issues surrounding loaded dice highlight a fundamental difference between allowing divine will to take its course versus deliberately controlling an outcome for one's personal gain. When dealing with uncertainty, we sometimes struggle to make good choices for ourselves and our families. When it comes to making life choices, many times we try to load the dice in our favor to get the outcome we want instead of casting lots and obeying God. Today, physically casting lots isn't commonly used in spiritual decision-making. However, there are several ways people can seek God's will. Seeking God earnestly in prayer, searching the Scriptures, and seeking advice from spiritually mature believers can help guide us through life and even through closed doors. Seeking God's will is always the best choice.
These pearls of wisdom are brought to you by Carl Johnson and members of the Oyster Bay Church of Christ, located at 1044 Shadeville Road, which is 4 miles east of Crawfordville, Florida.